So it's been a while since I've made any videos, and here I am just kind of trying to do this. This isn't the greatest video production shooting. However, so the Power Linguist back at you, and this is a little talk about how I've influenced the people on YouTube. In this case, talking about the language, the linguophiles, the polyglots, and their spectatorship, the viewership, the viewers, as it will be. So, since I originally came on, which has been 4 years ago, I think, for the language, much longer back for self-defense and fighting, because that's what I'm known for, it's what I've done. Check those things out. World's leading and strongest self-defense. There's a reason for that. So I came onto the YouTube for the languages, and basically because I'm serving in a watchdog capacity, making sure that the people who were talking, who are amateurs, were backing up their assertions with actual facts, which none of them were doing. Some of the impact that I've had is that I've gotten people to start using the word dilettante, which no one was using before. At least some of these people have realized that they are dilettantes. And actually the word linguophile is being used by quite a few people on forums, Facebook pages, even in some of their videos they're saying that they admit that they're linguophiles and not linguists. Because the people who are calling themselves linguists are not linguists in any sense of the academic word. They cannot get jobs as linguists. They can't analyze a language. They can't do a phonology or grammar sketch, and they could not construct a language. All such things can be done by real linguists, all of which I've done or in process of doing, by the way. Anyway, so I came on, and there were a lot of people claiming to teach people this or that. A lot of them, again, are faulty in what they're doing. They don't have education degrees. They know nothing about teaching people or about the learning process. There's a reason why none of them can legally teach in a public school system anywhere on the planet. There's certifications, testing, you have to have diplomas, all those things I also have. And also I come from an accelerated learning background. I've taught in public schools, I've been a university guest lecturer, I've taught in high schools, I've taught secondary, I've taught primary. In public schools, I've taught private, I've done tutoring, I've done large seminars, as far as, and also long distance teaching. I've done all those things for many, many years. So I know what I'm talking about. I've gotten results in all those, and I've also passed several tests that you have to pass. The people who are on YouTube don't seem to know anything about education. They don't know different learners. They could not come up with a lesson plan if their life depended on it. They don't know anything about curriculum development, and this is very evident in the way that they go about trying to hodgepodge putting together some sort of language materials, which are all textbooks based. And they're all grammar, they're all left brain, by the way, also. But they don't know how to sequentially build that, something that I revolutionized the world of self-defense, because I have sequential scientific structured learning, and that it goes into the exact learner's style. And so the things that these people don't even know, they don't know auditory, they don't know visual, they don't know kinesthetic, they don't know how to adapt. They're teaching to those students who operate in different modalities than they do. They also don't know how to create a learning environment in a group setting. They don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to work within with a framework where everyone is not just super motivated intrinsically. And so when they talk about trying to get rid of the education system for language teaching in public schools, especially in North America, they don't know what they're talking about because they've never been in this setting. They don't know all the parameters that a public school must work within and all the different types of students that they must put up with, emotionally damaged, ones that are criminals, ones that are violent, those that are retarded, attention deficit disorder. All of those things are in a normal classroom with 40 people. They don't know how to handle that. They also don't know how to list and develop a lesson plan, as I've stated before. So you got all these people talking about things they don't know about. So I have basically come in as a watchdog and said, look, you have no qualifications to talk about these things. You don't know what you're doing. You're like a witch doctor compared to a surgeon. All you can do is guess. And that guessing, of course, makes damages in the learner's process, and they don't know really what they're doing, so these people are replicating their idea of themselves. And what does that mean? Well, so a few people learn several different languages. That doesn't mean that they know how to teach other people at all. And I've given the analogy of Mike Tyson as a fighter. A lot of people are too ignorant to understand that. So, you know, that's their fault, not my limitation. I've also never stopped anybody from getting credentials or learning about linguistics or taking teacher education courses or learning about how to teach people. None of that stuff I've ever limited to anybody to, but I'm getting blamed because I'm pulling it out. I also, on here, YouTube, as a watchdog, as I said, but as in a Sam Harris capacity, which is to defeat the faith-based learning systems. And these people who have no empirical evidence, like Kaufman, they don't know what they have nothing. They just assert what they're doing is best, and they want to make themselves an authority. In my opinion, as if their opinion came from an authority. This guy's never published any papers. He couldn't get anything at a peer-reviewed site. He'd be laughed out of a university. He couldn't teach anywhere on the planet legally. So that's one guy. Then you have other people who are well qualified but in a different field, such as philology, which is Arguelles, for example, who knows what he's talking about in literature. But linguistics is not based on cultures that only have literature scripts. So he's at a loss in that case of dealing with those languages which have no scripts and learning them, which is over 90% of the world's languages. So those people who are touting the fact that they're learning these obscure, you know, non-pragmatic languages, they have no room to say, well, you linguists who go out in the field, that is just not useful to me. Well, yeah, it's as if Icelandic were useful for you when you live in Ohio. It is not useful for you. You better just stick with the world languages. So anyway, so I've come on and have said that. I've also, people who've tried to assert that they know what Pinker is talking about, tried to dismiss the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis with nothing other than their opinion. That doesn't work in academics, and you're going to be called to task on that because you can't try to use an absurdum, you can't use a straw man, you can't red herring me. A lot of people are upset also that I will not just do work for them for free. They don't know what they're doing because they're really not qualified to do a linguistics analysis, but yet they think that they are. It's amazing the amount of people who, over the years, who have tried to run things past me for basically free. I'm a professional. You're going to get a lot of free work from people who are doctors or lawyers. It's not going to happen. I have been very generous in giving out information and directing people to different resources, ways to learn, because guess what? How did I get all this? I did it on my own will, forcing my own desire in a way to learn more information. Used as technology. Okay, so what we have though are a lot of people, and you've got Moses with his leveling up, which is a whole nother story, goes into just fantasy world things that have to do with ego defense, basically. The idea that they're all going to get together and give each other applaud, you know, accolades for what they're doing. There seems to be this coalition forming between different people. Benny Lewis probably significantly was the person who started it, but now you got coalitions with Stu J and Mike Campbell, and then you got Benny and Mike and a bunch of other people. And they personally have written me saying they don't like each other. It's different people in these coalitions, but yet they're doing this because they want to make money, because this is what they see as their avenue for making money. The factor is that every one of these people, when they're trying to get money and be liked because they want to be such not take a stand, they don't have integrity, they have vested interests, they can't be trusted. They're no longer a viable source of information. What they're saying to you is suspect because it has an agenda behind it. And that's why I've watchdog these people and call people when they say, you know, well, why are you attacking me? I am demanding that you show me evidence for why you're saying what you're saying. And also show me the structure and why you're doing it. Of course, none of you can show me empirical studies because none of you have it. People like Kaufman, who is an anti-intellectual, who dismisses the idea of Asher, who doesn't even seemingly know how to read Krashen completely, doesn't know what comprehensible input really means, it's just something to toss around, doesn't know about the studies against Krashen's because it's not, he has a non-falsifiable hypothesis, which is not actual academic empirical work. Let's go on. So he avoids TPR, which has got the most research behind it. It's the fastest way to learn. He dismisses TPRS, which there are hordes of people doing that actually works. And all these people want to seem to try to promote some sort of self-learning of a language. That doesn't happen. That it's unnatural. Nobody's learned a language without anybody else. Languages are a tool for communication and giving different information. There's a lot of research into those areas, language acquisition, studying ethology, the animal communication system, and there are other animals that do use language, by the way, not in the same way as humans, but they do give new information, and that is assimilated through different symbiotics, which is a whole nother field that has to do with what we're talking about. But a lot of people then want to talk about dialects and accents, and they get very lost because they don't have a social linguistics background, or they'll start to get prescriptive, saying, well, you cannot end a sentence in English with a preposition, which is untrue. That can actually happen, and a lot of times when people think it's a preposition, it's actually a cut from a phrasal verb. And prescription is not what real descriptive grammar is about. I also have people on here who want to talk about, well, I've noticed this and that in the language. I say, okay, what system of descriptive grammar did you use to come to that conclusion? They can't answer me because they don't know. They don't know. They don't know any sort of system of grammar. Their idea is something that they were taught in school, which is a Latin-based prescriptive thing that was applied to English, and that's not what linguists use. Nobody uses that sort of thing. Anyway, they also don't know phonological rules. They don't know phonology. They don't know why things happen. They couldn't figure out the phonology of a language, or what the rule is, why it's occurring like this, why it's happening. It's something a linguist could do. I've also, repeatedly challenged Benny Moses and Steve Kaufman to the 90-day village challenge, where we all of us go out into a village of a language I've never known, they don't know, because they've never been around them, obviously, and that's unscripted. And we'll see who can learn the language in 3 months and who can't. Of course, this is not going to be without getting a payoff, because I know I can do it. They don't have the skills, yet they've all touted that they can learn. It's Kaufman originally saying, hey, you can learn any language in the world with my software. Good luck, Kaufman. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know how to data management, anything, and none of you know how to. None of them know what to do. It'd be very, very, very interesting, because they would fall on their faces within 2 weeks and cry for, where's the teacher cell, where's the SC meal, because they want tourist books to lead them in. They think that's how you learn. They have no clue. Anyway, so this is some of the things that I've done. If you look around YouTube, you'll see people who are basically backing down from me, who are scared them to bring things up. They try to overreact and say, oh yeah, he's a hater. That would be, I'm a person who gives a critical analysis, and you can't defend your views, so you want to try to label me so that there's no more discussion, because you don't have a valid argument. You have nothing to support your side. Your opinions, your assertions, your anecdotal stories, they don't support anything, okay? So anyway, that's what the Power Linguist has to say to you. Coming up, the Godzilla Project will take off, and that's going to crush a lot of people on YouTube, because basically, if you're not above board, if you're not legit, let's bring that phrase back, if you're not legit in what you're doing, what you're saying, and what you're promoting, then I'm going to nail you, just like Godzilla. So anyway, that's it. Play it back, and I'll see you later.